Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're tuning in from, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. It's Wednesday, happy hump day, November 29th. Going to get started with today's live stream. Going to be doing a public market update, and if we do have any ticker requests, we'll get into that at the end of the video. As a reminder, I'll do my best to get through this as best I can. So usually whenever I come on and I do this, I try to get through as many as possible, depending on how many ticker requests. I'm going to probably allocate about 30 minutes or so for this live stream, and I'll try to get to as many as I can. But just sit tight. We'll give it another minute or so for people to join us. Let us know where you're tuning in from if you're joining the live stream, and welcome. All right, so we have quite a few people joining the live stream. Welcome, welcome. As a reminder, going to be doing a live stream and ticker requests. I'll do a quick market update. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the market, the broader market, crypto space, the MJ space as well, and I'll give my thoughts and opinions on what to expect in the days, weeks, months ahead in terms of price action. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or whenever I go live. Also, none of this is financial advice. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. You should never ever buy anything based on anything that I write or anything that I say. So if anybody does have any ticker requests, please let me know in the live chat, and I'll do my best to get to those at the end after we do a quick market update. Hope everyone had a fantastic day today, and we'll go through the broader market. I did post a couple of videos today as well. It was a pretty busy day. I covered Bazam's earnings, Q3 2023 earnings. Just gonna have a sip of coffee here. Been a long day, that's for sure. So covered that. Also did about an hour-long live stream for Pow Group private members earlier, and then I posted a short as well. And this was a great article here from the Green Watch, I think it was called Green Market Watch, and essentially it's all the Canadian companies that benefit. The Cureleaf is on there as well, that benefit the most from German legalization. So if you haven't seen that short, you can check that out. And then also just posted a video not too long ago. The feds are withholding rescheduling letter despite FOIA requests, so Freedom of Information Act requests, and a lawsuit. That video is getting a lot of traction. And yeah, check that video out if you haven't seen it. Also, make sure to give us a follow, on X, which is formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So we'll take a look at the crypto space at the moment. We're basically just going flat the last couple of days. We're starting to see volatility sort of dry up a little bit, and including the broader market as well. That's why I'm expecting volatility to pick up again soon, and we should see it. We saw a lot of volatility to the upside, and we should see some volatility to the downside. Just so don't be surprised if we do see a pretty big pullback on crypto or on the S&P 500. Is just going to be healthy in my opinion. The S&P 500 went from like 409 to 458, I think it was today. So basically, just full on bull mode, and we still haven't even confirmed a weekly uptrend yet. And it's been very volatile to the upside. Now we will expect a pretty big pullback, which we'll look at here in just a moment. But before we do that, let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. So we do have some hidden bearish RSI divergence here on the daily time frame. We have lower highs and lower lows on the RSI, and we have higher lows and higher highs on the price action. So we will start to expect it to go to the other way soon, and we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. So that's two indicators that are showing bearish activity. And we had a daily bull flag as well that confirmed, and we're targeting 42K. So if we get to that $42,000 range, I think we could pull back substantially from there. Whether or not we get there before weekly consolidation happens, that remains to be seen. Your guess is as good as mine. But right now, the charts are saying we should be targeting 42,000. It doesn't say when. If anybody can predict when, please let me know. I will get next week's lottery numbers from you. But if we take a look at the weekly time frame here, you can see here we haven't consolidated since 26,000 on the weekly time frame. The last time we lost the low of the previous weekly candle was back here on the week of October 9th, and that was the low at 26,521. So Bitcoin from that low to the high here it's now 49 days without any weekly consolidation, or 7 weeks. And we saw 45% of upside without any weekly consolidation. So we will expect weekly consolidation at some point soon. When? Again, we can't predict when. We don't have a crystal ball. We're not wizards. You just take a look at the data and take a look at the charts, and the chart will tell you, right? So the low of last week is key support. If we lose that, that'll be the first time in 7 weeks that we start a weekly consolidation. Consolidation just means we're losing the low of the previous candle. And then we would anticipate a weekly higher low somewhere around 33,000 or 30,000. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we back tested, 35 to 30,000 for a weekly higher low here. Would just be absolutely healthy, in my opinion. But with that being said, on the monthly time frame, we're in a monthly uptrend. We already had a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. And we have some resistance at 48, but a lack until 48, both on the monthly and the weekly. But again, we already had that bull cross out of the way. Wouldn't be surprised if we came down for another monthly higher low at some point soon, like I said, and back test 30,000, and then see a massive end of year rally. Like I said, I think we're going to see weekly consolidation. Not that I want to put a time frame on it, but I would say over the next few weeks, I would say more than likely over the next 1 to 2 weeks, potentially 3 weeks, where we see weekly consolidation and a pullback in the market. And watch for the media to go screaming, all this kind of bearish narrative. But in my opinion, it'll be a dip, perhaps one of the last dips to buy before a massive end of year Santa Claus rally, and then potentially spillage over into Q1. But I'm expecting one more euphoric move in the broader market in the crypto space into Q1, Q2 of 2024. And then I think, the show's over. I think we're going to end that multi-year bull market, and we're going to enter a multi-year bear market. And we're probably going to see one of the worst market crashes in history, if not the worst, in my opinion. And again, this isn't to be an alarmist. If you haven't seen my video, it says how I'm preparing for one of the worst market crashes in history. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. It was months ago that I did it, but everything still applies. The only thing that doesn't apply is time, because we just don't know, right? So again, everything in that video, I gave like 10 different things that I'm doing to prepare, and all of them they're not dependent on time. So everything's still relevant today, and will still be relevant until we see the market crash, which we know is inevitable. LBC storage and BTC shorts, followed by Filecoin leading the decline today. And on the bull list in terms of crypto, we have BAT, HEX, and SOL. We'll take a look at the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 was a daily bull flag as well. We have our low, our high, anything over 426.83 on this brief daily consolidation was a higher low and a potential daily bull flag. And we held that. We had brief consolidation. We didn't even backtest the 0.236, going to show how strong the bulls were. And then once we broke above the high there at 438.09, that confirmed the daily bull flag. And then you take your measured move from the low to the high. And anybody who tells you that technical analysis doesn't work must be high, because clearly, in this scenario, it doesn't mean it's going to play out to perfection. It just means the odds and probabilities. And like I said, when we take a look at 8 or 9 different indicators, and 80 or to 90% of the indicators that we follow are saying bullish and are saying we could be heading to this price, then we're bullish, right? If 80 or 90% of the 10 indicators that we like, that we track, are bearish, then we're going to expect downside. It's as simple as that. And then I saw somebody commented on my video today that Warren Buffett said it's pointless to look at a chart, which he also said that he didn't understand technology. He also said he didn't understand Microsoft or Apple or Amazon or Bitcoin or crypto. So might you think that he just doesn't understand technicals? He's not a tech guy, right? He's a pen and paper kind of guy. He didn't have a computer for the longest time. I don't even know if he has one now. But rest in peace, Charlie Munger, who recently passed away, his right-hand man. And, what a great life. What a great, investor. But Warren Buffett, obviously not a tech guy. So this is technical analysis. What is he probably not going to be good at? Technical stuff, right? So this is technical stuff. There's also fundamental stuff, which you can get to the same thing. You can do value investing, right? You can do price to earnings ratios, things like that. And then you can get a price target from there, right? And then there's technicals, but why not take the fundamentals and the value investing and the price to earnings and all these other metrics and see if they're lining up with the technicals? If everything's lining up with the technicals, then that's just more tools in your tool belt, right? So again, it's not about guarantees, it's about probabilities, right? So when we take a look at, and nothing's guaranteed, right? The only guarantee is there's no guarantees. But one thing I will say is check out Phil Town. He does a great overall strategy, and he mixes in value investing principles. I actually went to one of his conferences in Calgary, and I spent thousands of dollars on my own knowledge, right? And some of these courses, they can go for $10,000, $20,000 a course, right? And then he mixes in technicals along with value investing principles, right? Getting zombie prices and things like that, and having a competitive edge and a moat and a margin of safety, right? But then he also factors in a lot of technical stuff on the charts and floors and ceilings and things like that, right? So a well-rounded approach, I think, is always the best. My whole life philosophy and MO is just, having a balanced approach to everything. So I digress. I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's just funny how these technicals just play out perfectly time and time again. It doesn't mean that they always play out. It's just 60 to 80% of the time. If a pattern shows up, it has a 60% probability of playing out to whatever direction that it's showing, right? So wouldn't you want to know that? And then, like I said, we were targeting about 457, the high there, about 457.50. And then today we hit 458.32. And then we closed near the low of the day. So don't be surprised if we see a pretty big pullback over the next week or so. Like I said, on the S&P 500, that'll just be healthy. And these blue bars that I put in here are going to be relevant here in a moment. I'll bring it up in just a second. But as you can see, we were in a weekly downtrend with lower highs and lower lows, weekly lower high and lower low. So on this weekly bounce, how do we know the weekly bounce was beginning or starting? Because we broke the high of the previous candle. So once we broke the high of the previous candle, we're on the weekly time frame, weekly bounce underway. If we lose the low of the previous weekly candle, because we're on the weekly time frame, weekly consolidation underway, right? So we were on weekly consolidation for these two candles, losing the low. Then we started the weekly bounce, breaking the high. Anything under 438.14 was a weekly lower high. But then once we broke that resistance, that broke the lower high, lower low pattern. So on this week of November 6th, we were no longer in a weekly downtrend, and we were no longer in a weekly uptrend. The trend was flat. We were just neither, right? And then we're going to look for weekly consolidation to begin, just like here when we lost the low of the previous candle. When that happens, look out below, because we're more than likely going to pull back significantly. Volatility to the upside. We didn't even confirm a weekly higher low and a higher high to give us a weekly uptrend yet. So what does that mean? If we're not in a weekly uptrend and we're not in a weekly downtrend, and we were volatile to the downside and then the upside, where do you think we're going to be volatile to the next move, right? Probably downside. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we back tested 440, 430 here over the next couple of weeks. We also have a gap in the chart there at 441. So that would be an area to target as well. But what are these blue bars for? This is gold. So gold is basically leading right now. So if we take a look at gold, gold is showing a lot of strength. And keep in mind, a 15% move or whatever on gold is actually like a 50% move on a stock, right? It's got such a huge market cap. But you can see here, let me get rid of these fib tools here as well. So you can see here we have our low. I'm just going to get rid of that too. So we have our low, and I'll get rid of the bars. So we have our low, our high, our higher low, and our higher high. So we're in a weekly uptrend, right? We have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. So if you take a look at this, this is the bar chart that I took and overlaid onto the S&P 500 to kind of teach people what I'm expecting. So this is basically, right here is basically where the S&P is. We haven't lost the low of the previous weekly candle, but we will, right? It's just a matter of time. And then we'll start weekly consolidation, which is here. We'll look for the higher low, and then we'll look for the higher high, which is a break of this high. So basically the S&P 500 is right here, right? We still need this, and we still need this. So we still need the higher low and the higher high. Okay. So now what you do is you take your bar chart, bar pattern, and you just come over here to this tool here on TradingView. You go bars pattern, and you select from the low. Actually, I didn't hit it. So bars pattern, where did it go? There we go. Go from low to the high there, and there's your bars. You can copy that, you can paste it, you can put it into a different chart as well, right? So what I did is I went over to SPY and I copied it into SPY. So this is what gold has already done, and this is what we would expect the S&P 500 to do as well. Doesn't mean it's gonna hit to perfection, but something similar, right? So we have our low, our high. We'll anticipate weekly consolidation over the next week. 1 to 3 weeks, in my opinion, is the most likely scenario. We'll back test the middle of those EMAs, which is basically what I've been saying. And then we'll come back down, we'll form a weekly higher low, and then a higher high is what I anticipate. And this could potentially put us into new all-time high territory. This would put us around 470 on the S&P 500, okay? So again, it's just a comparison. It doesn't mean we're gonna get there. It's just a comparison on what could happen and what we need to see happen to be back in a weekly uptrend, okay? So with that being said, the dollar is weak. So we're breaking down, we're daily oversold. So we could see a pretty big recovery here and oversold bounce on the DXY, which would be bearish for stocks and crypto. We are dropping to weekly lower low. We could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the DXY though, which means more downward pressure, which would be good for stocks and crypto in the short term here. But we could be targeting close to weekly oversold as a potential for a bottom, a temporary bottom on the dollar index. And then that would likely mark the area where we would expect to bounce, and then inversely correlated is the S&P 500, and we would expect weekly consolidation at that point. So we'll be watching that very closely. But silver very strong as well, low, high, higher low, and higher high, very, very strong weekly uptrend, weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well after we had the bear cross. And again, it happens every time, right? Bear cross, tons of downside, bull cross, tons of upside, bear cross, downside, but that never actually crossed, bull trap, bear cross, tons of downside, then a bull cross again, right? So it happens on the weekly time frame all the time, right? And then in terms of individual names today, Tesla continuing its daily bounce today on the weekly time frame, continuing its weekly bounce, but just like the S&P 500, this move's all coming off the low, and we're actually still in a weekly downtrend here on Tesla. It's actually weaker. We have our high, low, lower high, and lower low. Anything under the lower high here at 268.94 is just another lower high in a weekly downtrend. So if we break 268.94 resistance, we'll no longer be in a weekly downtrend, but we still need the higher low and higher high, just like SPY. In terms of movers and shakers on the day today, we have AYR, or AYRO. I don't even know. I forget who that company is now. Arrow Inc. I'm on electric vehicle, that's why. Main watch list. There we go. I was thinking it was AYR, MJ name there for a second. In terms of movers and shakers on the day today, we have GME, BIGG, and AMC. So there was some news out today with AMC. What was it? Dividend, increasing dividend, and they blow out earnings as well. But yeah, what was it? Well, that's AMC. Whoops. Yeah, so stock soars 20%. What was I can't remember the reason for it though. Anyway, not a big. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, but not a big deal. I want to start to hurry up. BIGG and AMC leading the bull list. On the bear list, we have CODE, HP, and EH. But yeah, huge move there on GME, and just catching up with the broader market. And one weekly candle from the low to the high there, almost 50%. Wow, monster move. All right, taking a look at the MJ space here at the moment. We'll take a look at the Canadian MJ. So winners and losers on the day today. Also, today marks the day of the beginning of MJ BizCon. I didn't go this year. And my girlfriend and I are expecting a baby, and I've just been really busy bought a couple new condos, getting those ready for some long-term rentals, and also got my Airbnb and stuff. So maybe next year, most likely the next year. Also needed a break from Vegas. That place I needed a break from big time. There's a reason why they call it Sin City. But taking a look at HHMJ. So did I do the movers and shakers on the day today? Yeah, TB, WIB, IMCC leading the bull list, and on the bear list we have Huge, BZAM, and Love. But HHMJ, you can see here we had a daily equilibrium. So we had the low, high of the bounce, higher low, lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low, bear break, and we will be expecting more downside. So from here, once we actually lost out of that tightening range, we had our next support here at 850. We pierced below that, 841, and we have another daily lower high here, and we're most likely anticipating a move down to around 823 as the most likely scenario, and then next support 807. Keep in mind the S&P 500 is weak and likely due for weekly consolidation, which will be selling pressure and headwinds. This is why we look at the broader market. This is why we look at other MJ names, not just the one we're invested in. And this is why we're diversified as well. In terms of MSOS, so we had that daily head and shoulders, EMA 12 and 26 bear cross coming off week daily overbought, heading towards daily oversold. We hit daily oversold, EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. Now we're flipping, started the daily oversold bounce, EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, very similar to SPY. So again, this is why we look at other charts, not just tunnel vision on one stock or one sector, because SPY was very, very similar. Look, we have our low, our high, our brief higher low, and then we look for a higher high and a daily uptrend to confirm and a daily bull flag. What does that look like? MSOS, very similar. And then you can even go here and you can compare. So let's bring in SPY and you compare it. So it might be a little hard to see here on the daily time frame. Why is that not showing up properly? But yeah, you can see here it bottomed around the same time it started its daily bounce. It's not really formatting correctly at the moment, but not a big deal. You can see it on the chart, right? You can see the low, the higher low, low, high, higher low, and higher high, and the brief consolidation. Same thing on MSOS. Low, high, higher low, brief consolidation. Now looking to confirm a daily bull flag, similar to what SPY did. But the only issue I take with this is the fact that the S&P 500 has already confirmed its daily bull flag and hit its target. So that's going to be headwinds for the US MJ and Canadian MJ as a whole. So I'm not as confident in this playing out because of the broader market already hitting its and likely due for some pullback, unless we get some kind of news that would, save it and go against the grain essentially. But, all things unchanged and bearing any unforeseen news, we would expect more than likely this not to play out. In my opinion, I don't think it has as high a chance of playing out, but it could. You could have entered here as well at 622. We had an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. We were coming off daily oversold, the daily oversold bounce, and SPY had a brief higher low and higher high and a bull flag as well. So again, as long as we held the 0.32 fib on this pullback, you just take your low to the high. You look at the 0.32 fib, which just means 38% retracement from the high there. So we pulled back about 38%. And then the 0.5 fib would be a 50% pullback, right? And then the 618 would be 61%, right? So anything over the 3.382 fib, 6.22 was a daily potential bull flag. So we got as low as 627. So you could have entered with your stop below 622, right? Allow a little bit of wiggle room. You could have said 619, 614, and then allow a little bit of wiggle room. Essentially, you could have risked about 1 to 2% to nail that and now be up about 12%, right? So that's some good risk to reward scenarios. But if we do confirm the daily bull flag and we go from the low to the high there, that's about a 43% trade opportunity, right? So that's what technical analysis is. It's going based on data, support, resistance, and patterns, right? And odds and probabilities. And then looking at different sectors, looking at different names within the same sector, looking at different broader market conditions, the macroeconomic landscape as well. So in terms of movers and shakers on the day-to-day in USMJ, we have IAN, MMEN, and RWB leading the decline. And on the bull list, we have FLGC, GRWG, and MRMD. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. We'll jump into the chat here as well. If anybody does have any ticker requests, please let me know, and we'll jump into that at the moment. Kronos and ACB, please. High Tide, Ottawa, Canada, welcome. Tilray, will MJ be affected by next year's bear market? I think it could be briefly, and then it will enter massive bull mode. And it could be one of the best performing sectors. So I think it will get initially, like if the S&P 500 craters, and what I think is going to probably happen is going to start. Okay, so here's what I anticipate, right? Again, I'm not a wizard, but this is just from my 20 years experience in the financial markets. So what I think is going to happen, we're going to see weekly consolidation. We're going to see pretty big pullback. The media is going to be like, oh, the end of the bull market, blah, blah, blah. And then we could even see, we're seeing, I already said in one of my videos that we could see some truce and we could see some improvements to the geopolitical events going on and, Russia and Ukraine and, Israel and Palestine. So in Hamas and whatnot, and prayers go out to those affected by that. And we're already starting to see some of those, hostages being released and things like that. So I think that we could see some improvements there. Pray to God that, that happens. And what I think could happen is there's some news out today about China and Taiwan and some escalations there. They might use that as a narrative into late 2024. Things will escalate. The whole media will be saying World War III, but it won't actually be. It'll just be orchestrated. It'll be overblown. And what I think is going to happen is they're going to use it as a way to, basically crash the markets. And then what I think is going to happen is we're going to see one more final blow off top. We'll see one more final end of this rally and bull market in the beginning of, first half of 2024, say. And then in May, it'll be sell in May, go away. We'll probably see the US default. But what I think could happen is we will see a cut of rates. We could even see more money printing go on with all of this geopolitical stuff that's going on. We could see money printing turn back on, which would be good for crypto and would be good for risk on assets, stocks included. And then I think they could cut rates in May. And then everybody will think full bull market again, but then we'll see probably the U.S. Default on its credit, on its the debt, right? So I think the U.S. will default at some point in the back half of 2024 or early 2025, and then that'll crater the market and will create one of the biggest market crashes in history. But again, I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I'm prepared for all scenarios. I'm prepared for up, down, and sideways. I've done a video on explaining just this, so check out how I'm preparing for one of the worst market crashes in history. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for. And then I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the S&P 500 down in the low 200 range in that bear market. But I think MJ, if SPY drops and the US defaults, yes, MJ could drop maybe 20, 30% in a day, but then I think it would recover and then perform better. Look at MJ, how it's been performing terribly in a bull market with tech and crypto. Tech and crypto are stealing the show, but we have all the catalysts on the horizon that we could ever want or need in MJ. And even if we are, short-term derailed and we go down, with the broader market temporarily, I think we'll recover quickly and probably outperform the broader market and could be one of the only sectors that really offers high returns in a bear market. So I'd just be very, very careful on tech stocks and what else? Tech stocks, certain, just any names that's at an all-time high, right? S&P 500, things like that, those indices. So yeah, let's jump into some quick technical analysis and ticker requests. So we want to take a look at Kronos and ACB. Yeah, so we were talking back and forth, Jim Lucy, on one of my videos today that I actually did add Aurora today. First time ever buying Aurora MJ. And the reason why I bought it had to do with German legalization. They even claimed that they have leading market share in Germany, which I think Tilray said that as well at one point. So we don't really know who to believe. It's just kind of hearsay, but and he said, she said. But at this point, until we have some data and some third-party, data providers saying who has market share, like we have Hi-Fi, we have WeedCrawler, things like that here in Canada. Once we start to see those third-party coverage, then we'll know. But as it mentioned in this short video, if you go to shorts, it was this one here. Canadian companies stand to gain the most from German legalization. They mentioned Tilray, Curaleaf, Kronos, Organogram, and then Aurora. And like I said, I don't own Cron either. I'm looking at building position there. I really like their monstrous cash position that they're sitting on. They could be a buyout target. They might buy somebody else. Aurora, same thing with Aurora. But I think the risk to reward is well worth the risk. So, for example, on Aurora, we had a monthly bear flag that played out. I think it was a weekly bear flag, actually. Yeah, weekly bear flag. It said it was targeting about 50 cents. And that's exactly what we got. But if we just take a look at where we are, not the absolute low. So the all-time low there on the NASDAQ is 41 cents. And we are currently at 45 cents. So, we're 4 pennies away from all-time low. Would I have added it here a couple of months ago on the high at 115? Absolutely not. Why would I do that, right? I knew that there's probably going to be a better entry to get in, right? So on this move here, we hit weekly overbought. On weekly consolidation, you could have started to scale in, but again, I was being very, very cautious because a name like Aurora, it tends to burn a lot of people. So in my opinion, and then the news with regards to Germany, right? This is why we can kind of change our thesis and we don't have to be, we don't have to take a position just because we want to take a position. You can kind of evaluate things. And when the whole sector's down 80, 90% plus, maybe you want to be a little bit more patient, right? So in my opinion, Aurora could be well worth the risk. Like I said, with Germany coming online potentially in early 2024, this could be a nice recovery play. And one that, could definitely start to turn things around given the right, circumstances. So right now, from where we are, if we go back to all-time highs, that is a 32,000% move from here, meaning 320x. So if you invested $1,000 into Aurora at current price and it goes back to all-time highs, that's 320x. So that's $1,000 investment into $320,000. What's the most you can lose? $1,000, right? So it's well worth the risk in my opinion. I'm buying this. It's in my long-term no touch. I won't be selling it until the U.S. legalizes at the federal level. Or if I look one day and it's worth $320,000 on a $1,000 investment, or even, if it goes back to $20 or $30, right? That would still be life-changing wealth. So we'll reevaluate, but most likely just going to hold this one long-term, right? It's in my long-term no-touch portfolio. I've got a short-term account as well. I don't have any ACV in that one, but that's where, like, for example, Tilray, I have it in a long-term no-touch. I have it in a short-term. Long-term no-touch, not touching until it's either, millions of dollars or the U.S. legalizes at the federal level, or in my short-term account, I have certain take profit levels. So, $10 USD being the first take profit on Tilray, right? And I have all of these planned out before I even buy anything, right? Having a plan. But like I said, the most you can lose is $1,000 on ACB. I'm not going to put any more than $1,000 into this. I bought about $500 worth today, and then I might look to add one or two more times. And I'm hoping that we remain low, and I'll probably add on January 1st or whatever the first trading day is of January, when I get that extra contribution room in my tax-free savings account. Canadians should get another $6,500, I believe it is. So that I'll be using to buy some ACB and maybe some Cron. I might add some Cron before then, but again, Cron another name is Bazam, which I covered their earnings today, and they mentioned international shipments to Germany. So that's another one to keep an eye on for international and Germany specifically with their EU GMP certification. And then it was Canopy Growth. They weren't listed in here, but they did get GMP certification as well, EU GMP. So Canopy should be on the radar as well. But yeah, I really like the risk to reward. I won't be investing any more than $1,000 into this name. And like I said, if this goes back to all-time highs, that $500 that I invested today would be worth, like $160,000. So most I can lose is $500. I could care if this thing went bankrupt, insolvent, went to zero. Don't care, right? $500, money that I don't need. But I think the risk versus reward is way more favoring reward, right? So I know how much I can lose. The upside potential is unlimited. Imagine if it goes past all-time highs, right? But it could go to zero. I'm not downplaying that. It could get acquired, right? So all of these things we just don't know. There's a good chance that it doesn't go back to all-time highs, but there's also a chance that if it was there before, it can get there again. So just based on Germany alone, I decided to take a play, and I'm looking at Cron as well. But in terms of ACB, it's weaker, a lot weaker than a lot of names because we haven't even started the monthly bounce yet. We did here, but then we dropped to a monthly lower low. If you take a name like Curely, for example, as a gauge, right, or as a barometer, you can see here like low, high, higher low, and higher high, higher low. Nice entry there on that double bottom at 345. We had 348. So that was a nice entry to go there. If you went long there with a short stop, that would have been about a 50% trade opportunity. So congrats to the bulls there. But we have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. We're in a monthly uptrend, and we're nowhere near losing monthly lower lows. Whereas ACB had our high, our low, our high, and then dropped to a monthly lower low, and we're nowhere near confirming a monthly uptrend. So ACB has a lot of work to do. And we're getting very close to seeing a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. The last time that happened was in January of 2021 after the Dems took control of the Senate on hopes of legalization. So you could also wait if you're a little bit more conservative. Maybe you want to wait for this weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross because like I said, last time that happened, price went from 371 all the way up to almost 20 bucks. Then the bear cross, we went from when the cross happened about $10 all the way down to 40 cents, right? So and keep in mind, we could still see another reverse split as well. So, but with all the catalysts coming on the horizon, Germany's set for 2024 early 2024. This could very well get back up above $1 in a hurry. Look, it was just at $1.15 from 43 cents to $1.15 in less than a month, right? So things can happen quickly. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. ACB on the weekly time frame, we're still below the 10-week moving average, but we're seeing a bull cross of the stochastic. MACD close to seeing another bull cross, and I think this has a lot to do with Germany. We got above the 50 weekly. That's going to be strong resistance again at 65. We get above that. We have a lack until the 100 there at 150. And then in terms of the daily time frame, we're getting close to seeing a golden cross with the 50 below the 200-day moving average and crossing. Last time that happened was again in the last bull market where the Dems took control of the Senate, and this thing ran from $3 to $20. This time we're way more beaten down as well. So it's looking pretty good. In terms of Cron, let's take a look at Cron. Cron already had its weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, so it's definitely a lot stronger. And the last time that happened, again, was the same time in November and when the Dems took control of the Senate on hopes of legalization. Price went from $4.92 to $15.83. Then we had the bear cross. Price went from about $8 all the way down to $1.64. And we had a nice double bottom there. It's actually a triple bottom, 166, 164, 170. You could have entered there with a stop below 164, and you'd be now up 25%. Monthly time frame, we have our low, high, higher low, basically double bottom and higher high. So you could call that a monthly uptrend, and then another monthly higher low forming here. So this could be a nice entry here with a stop. You could set a stop loss below, say 150, and then essentially risk 40-50 cents. And if this is our long-term bottom, we go to all-time highs from here. That's a 12x, so $1,000 investment into $12,000. So not as high of a risk as a reward, but not as much risk in my opinion. But yeah, if you entered now, when we go back to all-time highs on Cron, you're looking at about a 12x. So it's not like life-changing wealth, but it's still pretty good. In terms of the weekly macros, we're still holding the 10-week moving average, and we're having a MACD bull cross on the stochastic and the MACD, so it's looking really good. Canadian MJ is looking stronger than US MJ now. It was that way for a while. Well, MJ was atrocious. Then we went down like 90% plus from February 2021 and all-time highs. And then US MJ, everybody's like, oh, MSO gang, see, I told you LPs are garbage. And then I was like, I wouldn't say that too soon because the whole sector moves together, not down to the second, the day, the minute. But on a monthly and a yearly basis, I'd probably bite your tongue because they're probably going to drop 80-90% as well. And that's exactly what happened after the run up in February 2021 highs. MJ fell way quicker, but it went down 90+%, most of the names on average. And then US MJ followed, look at truly from its February 2021 high, now down over 93%, right? So be careful what you wish for, and be careful on who you make fun of, because if it's in the same sector, same thing with crypto. If crypto's on average down 90% plus in a bear market, well, what would you expect for most cryptos? They're probably all going to be down that amount, right? At least 80-90%. And it won't be like that forever. It's just when something's nascent and there's not a lot of money in it, market caps, it's that easy to manipulate it, right? So let that be a lesson. And like I said, Canadian MJ for the longest time was way weaker. Then near the bottom, we started to see Tilray go, and then the major LPs, the CGCs, right? CGC ran from like 34 cents up to like $2, right? And then like almost 500%, 5x in a very, very short period of time. And then Aurora as well. And then once they started to pull back, US MJ was stronger. We have monthly uptrends on Cura and on AYR. Those are two very strong names. And then now we're seeing Canadian LPs start to be a little bit more stronger as well, technically speaking. But yeah, Cron, that 50-day or that 50 weekly continues to be a brick wall there at 201. If we can get a weekly candle close over that, then we're likely heading to 261. And then we got some runway to the 200 weekly at 478. In terms of the daily time frame on Cron, we are seeing a golden cross. So this thing could be exploding really any week, any month now. Keep in mind tax loss harvesting until December 27th into the end of the year. And then I think, like I said, very, very slight chance we get DEA response to HHS's recommendation by the end of the year. Don't think that's the most likely scenario. Hopefully we get it. It'd be a nice holiday gift. But most likely going to be in the first quarter or second quarter of 2024, in my opinion, and then later enacted in the back half of 2024, early 2025, we get rescheduling actually take effect. That's what I'm expecting. I'd love to be wrong and get it this year, though. Be the best holiday surprise ever. But yeah, golden cross forming. So this is an interesting name. I'm probably going to start to establish a position as well as early as tomorrow. Just kind of waiting for that weekly consolidation and pullback and healthy consolidation on the S&P 500. That'll more than likely bring down Cron and give us an opportunity to add maybe closer to that 175 area. Hopefully that helps. Let's take a look at high tide. See, high tide has been a little bit weaker as well, but I'm extremely bullish on this. I hold it for the long term. I'm going to be holding it super long term. What was it, like the 38th fastest growing company or something like that on the Forbes list or something? I can't remember, but definitely one of the fastest growing companies in Canada. Just wait till they start to get operations in the US as well. But yeah, we have our low, high. We're looking for a monthly higher low compared to 103. And if we hold that low and we break resistance there at 230, we'll be in a monthly uptrend. So lots of names still looking for their monthly higher lows and higher highs. We're forming the higher lows now. Now we need the higher highs, just like Cureleaf, like I just showed you. And then if we can get high tide to do the same, then we can call bear market over. We also had a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross already. And usually you get one final shakeout before the real breakout. So this could have been our final shakeout before a massive breakout back up to around 230s. And then after that, some runway until about $5. In terms of the weekly time frame, we're seeing a bull cross of the stochastic, which is very common to see that happen first. Then we get a close over the 10-week moving average. Then we get a MACD bull cross. So again, stochastic crossing bullish. We're getting close to closing over the 10-week moving average, and then the MACD should follow. And then once we get all three of those, all systems go. Tons of upside after that, in my opinion. Also, again, that 50 weekly just continues to, or sorry, that's Cron. High tide. Yeah, we're holding it as support right now, but we're very, very close. We got below it, and right now we're trying to confirm it as support. And then last 100 weekly was very, very strong resistance. So if we can get above 203, we got some runway there to 330. And then, like I said, $5 likely in the cards not too long after. We also had a golden cross on high tide with the 50 crossing below the 200. And then, like I said, that final shakeout before a massive breakout, more than likely over the next couple of months, in my opinion. Tilray, yeah, we can take a look at Tilray. So Tilray, weekly consolidation underway. I mentioned we did have a weekly bear flag, and we did confirm it with a lower high and a lower low, but I didn't expect that to be the most likely scenario. You take the measured move from the high to the low there, move it out to the 0.382 fib, and it's saying about a target of 117. I don't think that's the most likely scenario, but we can't rule it out. If we lose below the low there, we have a double bottom there, a weekly double bottom at 161. So if we lose that, then could very well be happening. But then we have all-time low at 150. Lose 150, then yeah. And this could happen. We can't rule it out, right? Again, I wish we were going to $100 from here. I could say that, but then I'd be lying, and I wouldn't be accurately illustrating what the charts are saying, right? But in terms of the daily time frame, we do have a daily equilibrium, or low, high, higher, low, lower, high, higher, low, lower, high, bear break, similar to HHMJ that I charted earlier. So we have a low, high, higher, low, lower, high, higher, low, lower, high, bear break. And then same thing with Tilray, low, high, higher, low, lower, high, higher, low, lower, high, lower, low, bear break. So that support there at 173. We hit 172 yesterday. So if we lose 172, we're probably heading back down to 161. And then, like I said, if we lose 161, all about 150, and then we could be targeting 117 in the weekly bear flag. But the most important scenario and time frame is the monthly. We're just looking for monthly higher lows, and we're looking to form it compared to the all-time low there at 150. So low, high, higher low. We need our higher high. So if we hold 150 from here on this consolidation and pullback, and then break 340 resistance, we're back in a monthly uptrend. So again, all about the monthly time frame. We also already had our weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. So the more names that do so, the better. And then, like I said, on the daily time frame, it's actually looking pretty good. We had some hidden bullish RSI divergence here as well, with higher lows and higher highs on the price action, or the RSI, and then lower highs, lower lows on the price action, and then daily oversold bounce underway. And then here's when we started it to deviate, EMA 12 and 26 bull cross lining up, and then a double bottom at 161. So that was a massive swing trade opportunity to enter off 161 double bottom on that hidden RSI bullish divergence, and then daily oversold bounce taking place, and then EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. If you entered there, you'd be up 17%, and we could still be heading up from here with that EMA 12 and 26 bull cross potential. So short term is looking pretty bullish, but medium term, I would say we could be in trouble. But again, it's going to be really dependent on the broader market and if we get any kind of news, right? But right now, I'm favoring more downside. In the medium term. Short term, it's looking pretty good. Medium term, not so great. Long term, we just don't know yet. But can't go wrong adding at these levels, in my opinion. But long term, I would be leaning bullish just because of the fact that we have a lot of names starting monthly uptrends, golden crosses, weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses, tons of catalysts on the horizon as well. Germany coming online, Tilray to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of that market. So it's looking pretty decent. And I own an absolute crap ton of it. My biggest holding by far. And we're seeing a bull cross the stochastic. We just need a 10-week weekly candle close over this 10-week moving average there at 190, and then we need the MACD to follow. But again, we already have that, and then a massive breakout. But this is usually that crash, retrace, accumulation, and that final, capitulative move down where that disbelief rally happens, right? Oh, this is just another suckers rally. There's no way we're starting a new bull market. And then they're like, oh, see, told you, just another suckers rally. And then this is where that final crash and price correction happens before a massive breakout. So fake out, then breakout. So it's looking pretty good there. In terms of the weekly moving averages, yeah, we're still well below the 50 weekly. And then in terms of the daily time frame, we already had our golden cross. But again, that final shakeout before a massive breakout, in my opinion. But it could be several weeks to a couple months, in my opinion. But like I said, it's looking really good. I would say over the next 1 to 3 months, MJ is really going to start to kick it into high gear. Again, no pun intended. Mr. Idaho here. Welcome, welcome. Do you think Bazam will survive in this market? They don't have much cash on hand and still has some debt. What will it take for Bazam to be attractive to the bigger players for a buyout? Yeah, good question, Michael. So I did cover that in my video today on their earnings. And like I said, in their earnings report, they talked about international expansion and exports to Germany and also Australia. But Germany is the major one there, obviously, with legalization coming. So that could be their saving grace and a nice under the radar play. But yeah, it could be a buyout target. I don't know though. Like they're still dealing with the integration of TGOD, Green Organic Dutchman and stuff. But there's definitely more consolidation needed in the space. But yeah, check out that video if you haven't already. Hopefully that'll answer that. But yeah, I really like the prospect of Germany as well for BZAM. Canopy. Yeah, we can take a look at Canopy. I do have to start wrapping it up. So CGC starting the daily bounce today could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. So short term, it's looking not too bad. But on the hourly time frame here, we're still in an hourly uptrend. So we had our high, our low, high, higher low, and higher high. And then we even came back down here on this hourly consolidation. We had our support at 52.7 cents. We had 53 cents. You could have entered there as well off of that double bottom for a quick trade, and you'd be up 7%. And then we had an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well, but we're starting hourly consolidation here into the end of the day today. And then we could see more weakness into tomorrow, in my opinion. But it's all about 53 cent support. And then it's also a double bottom at 47 cents. So we had 47 here, 47 and a half, and then 47.1 cents. So you could enter, if we get closer to that 53 or 50 cent level, you could enter with a monthly stop, a stop loss below that monthly support at 47 cents and double bottom. Could be a crazy swing opportunity play here. But we're just looking for this weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well, coming off weekly oversold. And then on the monthly time frame, it's a monthly double bottom as well. And again, we're just looking for that low, high, higher low, which we're forming now compared to 34 cents. And then if we can form that higher low and then break above 192, and then monthly uptrend confirmed. But on the hourly time frame, it's all about 53 cents. If we lose that, we're no longer in an hourly uptrend and we could be heading back to 50 cents. And then in terms of resistance from here, we're looking at 56.7 cents and then 58 cents. So we're closer to resistance than we are support at the moment. We're only from the high of that bounce, only about 3% away. And then from current price where we closed at, we are over 5% away from support. That's on the short term. In terms of the longer term, on the weekly time frame for CGC, we're seeing a bull cross of the stochastic, but the MACD's crossing bearish, and we're still unable to get above the 10-week moving average. So CGC definitely weaker at the moment compared to some of our other names that we just went over. On the weekly time frame, still well below the 50 weekly there at 122. And then in terms of the daily time frame, we haven't seen our, so again, a little bit weaker. We haven't seen our golden cross yet with the 50 crossing above the 200, which could happen over the next couple months, but definitely one of the weaker ones. But like I said, they do have, what was it, like Kincardine or something like that? Canopy Growth, EU GMP Facility. I think it was like Kincardine. Yeah, Kincardine Cultivation Facility gets EU GMP certification. So I don't know why they didn't mention that in there, in this short. And if you haven't seen it, I'll just play it real quickly. So that Canadian companies stand to gain the most from Germany's easing of restrictions. And then let's go down here, give it a second. And then it scrolls down and it shows them. So there you go. Tilray, Cureleaf, Kronos, Organogram, Aurora, and then it goes through some explanations as well. So you can just go over and check that out on my channel. But they didn't mention Canopy Growth, so like this should be good for Canopy as well. So hopefully that helps. Do you think CGC will do a reverse split and get a 180-day extension? Yeah, they have until like what, mid-January to regain compliance, which we could get rescheduling and massive hype. Obviously going to be better for MSOs, not really impact the LPs, but because they're listed on US major exchanges, the hype will be there and it'll benefit everything. And good for the whole sector. They could still get a 180-day extension. I think that's probably the most likely scenario, but shareholders already did approve a reverse split 1 for 15. So anything's possible. I don't know. Again, you're trying to predict the future. No one knows for sure. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. Could it happen? It could. So I'm a realist before anything else, and I try to leave my bias at the door, right? I try not to believe something just because I want it to happen, right? I just look at the most likely scenario, and I try to be a realist. And do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. Could it happen? Yes, it could, but I think the most likely scenario is they get a 180-day extension, and then all these other rescheduling, safer banking, Germany coming online, their EU GMP certification and kindergarten cultivation facility. Most likely scenario is they regain compliance organically. Right. So hopefully that helps. AYR, yeah, so we went over AYR a little bit. They confirmed their monthly uptrend, so it's one of the stronger names actually in the MJ space, and it's very similar to the S&P 500 on the daily time frame, but you can see here on the monthly time frame, it's in a monthly uptrend with our low, high. Wait a second here, what's going on? So we have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. We're forming another monthly higher low. We have support there at 107, $1 psychological, and then 78 cents. But another name that could benefit greatly from Florida being on the ballot in 2024 and potential for adult use sales commencing in 2025. At the moment, we're close to starting weekly consolidation. So if you're looking to add on this one, you could maybe potentially wait for a weekly higher low. The S&P 500 likely due for weekly consolidation and pullback, so that would likely signal weekly consolidation and pullback on AYR. Air Wellness, and so low, high, we'll look for a higher low, and then a higher high you could look to add potentially on a weekly higher low. And we already had our weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, so again, one of the stronger names in a monthly uptrend as well. In terms of the daily time frame, we have support coming up at 239, so we have support there at 262, then 239, and then after that, a lack of support down to 147. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing pulled back to, low twos for a weekly higher low, maybe even $2. We'll take a look at the OTC name AYR. So we're seeing a bull cross of the MACD on the weekly, and the stochastic is already cross bullish, and we're above the 10-week moving average. So this name is looking really good. Let's see if we get some news with regards to Florida soon, and MJ on the ballot for 2024. Very, very possible. We already had a golden cross as well. So again, and then this final shakeout before a massive breakout, I think is going to happen. So hopefully that helps. SNDL, you can take a look at SNDL real quick. I do have to start wrapping it up. Got a meeting coming up here in an hour. I still got to make some dinner. So yeah, SNDL, take a quick peek. Confirming an hourly downtrend here, very close to it with a high, low, lower high, and lower low. If we look at the daily time frame, daily consolidation, we've got support there at 139, 135, 131. Weekly time frame, we have already seen our weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well, so that's a great sign. But we're getting this final shakeout before the breakout, in my opinion, in our monthly higher low. So this is usually when people get faked out, right? They think it's just another disbelief and suckers rally. Then you get your monthly higher low, you confirm a monthly uptrend, and that's what you usually want to see for a multi-year bull market to end. So low, high, higher low, looking for a higher low compared to 125. And then if we break resistance here at 236, monthly uptrend confirmed. Another name that I'm very bullish on, I hold in my portfolio as well. But yeah, in terms of the weekly SNDL, weekly macro, still below the 10-week moving average. We had a bull cross of the stochastic. Now we just need the MACD to follow, which is very close to seeing a bull cross, and a close over the 10-week moving average there at 153, which we're close to doing as well. In terms of the weekly moving averages, we're back below the 50 weekly. So if we can get a weekly candle close over 169, that 50 weekly, we got some runway there to 276. And if we back test that 100 weekly, which a lot of names are starting to do, and hold support there, then we'd be in a monthly uptrend. So it's looking good. SNDL, massive opportunity long-term in my opinion. And we had a golden cross as well. So this, again, could that be that final shakeout for the breakout? So already went over Tilray. Thanks, you're welcome. Thank you for all that you do. Appreciate it. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate it. USD to CAD. Yeah, we can take a look at that real quick. That'll be the last one for Bobby. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be holding US dollars right now. Like I said, I think the US is going to default on its debt. They're probably going to usher in a new system. They'll probably back it by gold and a bunch of SDRs, a bunch of basket of things, right? They'll probably use some cryptos. They'll probably use gold, silver, a few other things as well. Maybe even real estate, who knows? But yeah, I wouldn't want to be holding... right now, if you convert $1 Canadian to US dollars, you get like 0.6. So that means if you have $100 and you convert it into US dollars, you only end up with $60. Right, so that means don't travel to the US right now if you can avoid it to go on trips. But yeah, crazy. So in terms of US to the Canadian dollar, on the monthly time frame, we're right at resistance. So yeah, 140, right? So again, that's what I said. 140 means you only get 60%. So we're close to that. We're basically double topping right now on that resistance, and we're seeing a potential for a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross and a monthly downtrend coming up. Yeah, it's pretty choppy at the moment. We just got this range here between 139 and 130. So those are some key levels to be watching. But yeah, like I said, I think that the Canadian dollar is probably going to hold up a lot better than the US dollar over the next, call it, year or two. Also, a lot of the BRICS nations trying to drop the US dollar and petrodollar and try to dethrone the US dollar as the world reserve currency. And there's just no one should have the world reserve currency. It should be backed, and it should be something that's decentralized. That's why I think crypto and blockchain was created, is because, you know, a name like XRP, it's a decentralized cryptocurrency that no one can control, right? Wouldn't governments around the world rather have something that they don't own and can't control? And then everybody, because, like, you know, there's hundreds and hundreds of countries. So who gets to be the next? You know, and that's avoiding World War III, right? Who wants to be the next world reserve currency? No one. Wouldn't you rather have something that it's trustless? You don't have to trust in it. It's just computer code. It's not controlled by any one country or any sovereign nation. And then, you know, a lot of countries would rather have that, which no one can control, than a country that, like the U.S. or the yuan or the yen or the Russian, you know, Russia potentially have the world reserve currency. It just doesn't make any sense. So, like I said, I think that's what's going to happen, but we're very close to resistance. I think we're more than likely due for a breakdown here, and it's all about support there at 130. But yeah, we did confirm a monthly downtrend as well, with a high, low, lower high, and lower low, and we're coming up. This could be our last final bull trap and rally before we see another monthly lower low, which means the US dollar should be a lot weaker in comparison. Appreciate it. You are welcome. All right, gonna end it there. My stomach's growling. I'm super hungry. Appreciate it. Thank you, Rod. Great analysis. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Leopold. You bet. All right, going to end it there. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. Again, it's Rod with Pow Group. Going to end it there. Hope you have a fantastic evening. I see we have almost a couple dozen people still on the stream after 57 minutes. So hopefully you found value in this. If you did, smash a like. I would appreciate it. Share the video with your network, and we shall see you again on the next video. Take care.